Kanye West said IRS froze his accounts because he owes $50 million in taxes. And this was done basically on the YouTube channel Timcast IRL, right? So Kanye West says the Internal Revenue Service has put a hold on four of his bank accounts because the rapper owes the federal government $50 million in taxes. West, who has changed his legal name to Ye, or Ye, made the revelation during an interview with right leaning podcaster Tim Pool on Monday, which he's not really right leaning, he's more fence sitter left because he's okay with abortion. Because the reality is, if you're on the right, you're not okay with abortion, like at basically any stage. So you can't really say he's right leaning just for that simple viewpoint because you can't be right leaning and be okay with abortion. So Yee bolted the interview on Pool's Timcast IRL podcast after the host pushed back on the rapper's latest anti Semitic comments about alleged Jewish control of the media. The rapper appeared on the podcast alongside Nicholas Fuentes and Milo, yeah, I don't even know how to pronounce that last name, blah, 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 who are now working for Yee's presidential campaign, but it seems like they're basically just been like kind of trolling Kanye himself potentially. So Fuentes and Ye dined last week with Donald Trump at the former president's Mar-a-Lago residence in Palm Beach, igniting outrage. Although what's interesting is that they also basically admitted, and Kanye admitted, that Donald Trump had no clue who the Nicholas guy was, or that people viewed him as like a white nationalist. Again, I don't really know that guy at all. I don't know Milo at all, right? Just me personally, I don't know. Let's see. So, before the contentious portion of the interview, Yi opened up about his finances. The gold digger crooner, who appeared on the podcast to promote his 2024 presidential campaign, told Poole that his finance people told him he will have to pay a lot of taxes. I'm talking about literally finding out that they were trying to put me in prison this morning, he said. But I found out, okay, so they put a $75 million hold on four of my accounts. And then they said, you owe a lot of taxes. Took me like 6 hours to find out how much a lot was, he said. Well, it was around $50 million. And the Post has sought comment from the IRS. And during the interview, he acknowledged that he was obviously not the most financially literate person on the planet. He said he asked different CFOs who were tied to his businesses whether he is evading taxes. So now I get to actually learn how to run a company. I get to learn how to, to count really, he said. It's like I didn't even know where to put the money. So, like, from what I got from checking the show out, was that Kanye is pretty much good at getting attention, very good at getting sales, but not really understanding the back end of basically any of it, right? So pretty much think of someone that has the capability of generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue every single year, but has no idea what to do with the actual money after they got in those sales. Like, it's a crazy situation, but it can happen, right? Like, for example, let's say that you are a guy or a girl or whatever that is extremely good at closing sales on the phone, right? So you're able to generate $200,000 a year, like $200,000 in revenue per year, right? But when it comes to tax time, you owe more than what you make. Why? Because you haven't basically listed your income correctly or haven't really put any like expenses that you could maybe have some tax bonuses to your side. So you now end up basically owing the IRS a lot more money than what you thought, or maybe more than what you actually have, because you also spent money because you're just so bad at actually managing your personal finances. So Kanye West might just be someone who might be making a crazy amount of money every single year, literally sticking all the money that he makes into like a bank account, maybe in the four bank accounts or like a few of these bank accounts, and just not doing anything with it other than randomly buying a house or something, which is pretty crazy when you think about it. Let's see. He has generated considerable amounts of negative publicity in the past 2 months that has cost him lucrative partnerships with top brands, including Adidas and Gap. And what's interesting, he also disclosed that he had a contract where he was basically going to get paid in cash $500 million per year for 4 years, right? So basically a $2 billion cash deal, which is insane. So Adidas, the Germany-based sports apparel maker, announced last week it was launching an internal investigation over claims that Yi, who partnered with the company in selling his Yeezy brand of clothing and shoes, showed adult material to staffers. Adidas cut ties with Yi last month after the rapper unleashed a bizarre anti-Semitic tirade on social media. Gap, another corporate partner that sold Yi's apparel line, also dropped him in the wake of his incendiary remarks. Yi and Adidas partnered up to sell his Yeezy shoe line back in 2013. The company faced criticism for not divorcing the former billionaire sooner, which many chalked up to the fact that Yi branded shoes raked in almost $2 billion in sales last year for Adidas, according to Morgan Stanley. And these terminated partnerships have reportedly cut its net worth from an estimated $2 billion to a comparatively paltry $400 million, according to Forbes. And by the way, keep in mind, I believe Yi himself said that in cash, he has like a little bit over $120 million in cash. So even with basically the hold on his bank accounts, even with owing the IRS the $75 million, well, I mean the $50 million, even having to settle with Kim Kardashian for the divorce, right? He is still a multi millionaire. And the reality is, he's actually in a better financial place than he was a few years ago when he was bankrupt. Like, a lot of people forget that Kanye West was bankrupt at one point, and he turned it around and made a lot of money. The one true skill that Kanye West has is that he is extremely good at making money. Like, really good at making money. But being smart with that money after he's made it, no, he's not good at that. But that doesn't mean that's going to stay like that forever. Because he kind of like realizes, like, hey, if I'm bad with my money and things are not going my way, I could face a lot of tough times. So it's just something to really think about. By the way, speaking about money, if you want to learn how to get out of debt and master your money, and learn how I got out of debt and grew my net worth, go down below or go to 40inbox.com and feel free to give your thoughts as to Kanye West and how he's kind of bad at managing his money.